and welcome to Breakfast Central on a Monday morning. Thanks for always keeping tabs and staying with us on the latest stories from around the continent. Most importantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In case you do not know, that's what we do here, broadcasting live from Lagos, Nigeria. I am Joe Hansen.
And I'm Benga Bora. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. It was a very, very eventful weekend. As we speak, Nigerian flags will be flying at half-mast for the next 1 week. And some of you might be wondering why. It's no longer news. We received the sad news of the passing of Nigeria's former President, Muhammadu Buhari, who passed around 4:30 p.m. in London yesterday. And prayers and condolences goes to all Nigerians and members of his family. May God grant them the fortitude to bear this loss. And his death has elicited a lot of reactions. His former ministers, the president himself had to declare an emergency Federal Executive Council meeting yesterday where he dispatched Vice President Mr. Kashim Shettima to London to accompany the former heads of state's mortal remains back to Nigeria.
Absolutely. It was indeed a sad one yesterday, especially for many Nigerians. It came very surprising because many were thinking that they were just mere rumors. If you recall, and you've been very close to social media, you would recall that there were a few persons who had made videos. I did stumble on two of those videos where they kept pointing to the same hospital and saying that the president was rushed in here, that he was looking unhealthy. It was a case of him being rushed to the hospital. And while that was going on, we did also see some of the aides to the former president debunk such statements and say, come on, the president is doing well. Currently, he just had to be rushed to the hospital to receive medical attention, but then again, he's doing fine. And not too long ago, just a few days ago, we also saw an aide of the president who went to national television and said, oh no, he's been discharged, he's doing very well. But at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, it's a story that would definitely hit you, because this is someone that we've known not just for 8 years where he finished his administration. It's someone who we also know from way back, 1983 all the way to 1985, where he also was president during the military regime. But then again, it's not just his presence as a president, it's also his presence as one who has been in the political space. You cannot talk about politics in Nigeria and the formation
and also in general the history of Nigeria, because let's go back to the Niger Civil War. He was an active participant in the Civil War. He was also federal commissioner it was a federal commissioner under the Obasanjo Murtala Mohammed regime. So he's been part of Nigeria's history. He's also made history as the first person to defeat an incumbent president. He reformed from military president to become a Democrat. And so many people would miss him. And, you know, like social media and most things in life, there would always be divergent views. That's why we're mixed reactions. That's why we're humans. Some praised him and some were not so kind in their words. But these things are expected. But just looking at the fact of it, a lot of people remember him for the war against indiscipline, his first outing as a military leader before it was truncated by his Chief of Army Staff, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. And then looking at his credentials as a Democrat, most people say, you know, he did mixed bags. A lot of people expected more, but they didn't get it, knowing that he came with the toga of an anti-corruption crusade. And we're looking at things that happened under his watch with his former CBN governor and things like that, that he really wasn't. They spoke about a lot of aloofness. But looking at the positive side of things, people will point to the second Niger Bridge, the infrastructure project, the airport remodeling, and also the railway under his super minister, Chibuike Amechi, that the modernization of Nigerian railway and things like that. But as it is, we're all mere mortals, and someday we'll have to answer the calling of God. And God has called him home. He lived a relatively very good life, and he passed on at the ripe age of not so ripe. I lost my dad at 80, so I wish he lived longer, but I've stopped calling 81 the ripe age. We wanted injury time, at least 90 football minutes. 90.
Well, I know there are different people
in good health.
In good health,
yes.
In good health, which is very paramount, very key. But I mean, you've highlighted some of the goods and some of the things that the president will be remembered for. Also, there are some that he will equally be remembered for, which many have said made the not so good list. You recall during the NSAS period, a lot of Nigerians expected the president to step up and address the issues, of course, speak to Nigerians and speak sparingly without holding back, ensuring that he was able to call out some of the loose cannons that were indeed affecting the lives of the privileged and certain Nigerians and the underprivileged as well.
And also use it as a starting point to overhaul the Nigerian police force.
Exactly.
Holistic reforms.
Exactly. And you did say something. He came with a lot of, there was a lot of opium in terms of opium and hope. Not forgetting too, there was a clarity of sense from Nigerians when he was indeed made president. The thoughts there was that this is someone who is known as a no-nonsense man. He was known as such. And many thought that his second coming as a Democrat will indeed pave the way for complete cleansing of the Nigerian political space, which was riddled with a lot of irregularities and not forgetting to impunity.
Corruption.
But then again, that didn't happen because whether you like it or not, Nigerians would go back and pull up history and show that there were a lot of corrupt practices with, like I said, fashioned with a lot of impunity that continued to bedevil the economic system. And then again, there was also no clear cut with the economic focus.
We're neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there.
The subsidy regime was still on.
Exactly, even though there were mentions. What the footage you have here is presumably the last footage of the president, what you see on the screen before he was flown to London. We do here, but let's take a look, and as we talk about this, let's watch. You know, one sad thing about life is you just don't know when it's going to happen. That footage was said to be the last footage of the president, where he was visited by the former vice president, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and other members of the political parties, where we've seen them move into the ADC. Hands were, exchanged in terms of shaking hands and speaking and going to see him again. But then again, if they had mentioned to any of them, including his former minister, Issa Patami, that this would be the last time that they would have a handshake with the former president, no one would have agreed. But that's exactly the last video. But someone else is reacting to the late president's demise, and we're talking about also a former military president
turned
Democrat as well. We could say he's one of those who equally paved the way for many others to believe that, listen, Nigeria may have had its own problems, but then again, we who were there back then as military officers, we can also be part of the democratic process. And we're talking about former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Well, he also dropped his thoughts concerning the death of the late President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. We'll try as much as possible to bring that video to you so you could hear what he had to say.
About Muhammadu, that he tried his best. My prayer is that God will forgive him of his inadequacies and accept him into his kingdom. is a loss to the nation, because at a time like this, we need the totality of the experience and what I may call statesmanship of all those who have had opportunity to run the affairs of this country in the past to get us out of the situation we are in. He will be sorely missed, and may his soul rest in perfect peace.
Very sobering reflection there from our head of state and President Olusegun Obasanjo. You know, when they're talking about the positives of the Buhari administration, a lot of people forget to mention his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and looking at NCDC, that aspect of preventing the virus from spreading, because, I mean, it was quite unprecedented. We'd never experienced anything like that in history, and the whole world shut down for that period. And Nigeria's response was quite swift, you know, shutting our borders, quarantining. The NCDC did a good job. So, I mean, people will give him kudos for his handling of that. But like the former president said, we're here for only some time, and may God forgive him for his inadequacies. We have a correspondent in Katsina State who will be monitoring events there. I'm sure from today, his mortal remains is expected to return. And according to Muslim rites, he will be interred mostly in Daura, most likely going to be in Daura. And we're expecting a flurry of activities, and dignitaries will be flying into Katsina State today to pay their tribute and homage to the Buhari family. But let's see if we have some reactions on social media on the passing of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. Yes, this is a message from the current president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He says, "It's with profound sorrow and heavy heart that I received the news of the passing of His Excellency Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired GCFR, my predecessor, who departed this life today, Sunday, July 13, at a hospital in the United Kingdom. President Buhari was, to the very core, a patriot, a soldier, a statesman. His legacy of service and sacrifice endures. He served Nigeria with unwavering dedication, first as military leader from January 1984 to August 1985, and later as a democratically elected president from 2015 to 2023. Duty, honor, and deep commitment to the unity and progress of our nation defined his life. He stood firm through the most turbulent times, leading with quiet strength, profound integrity." Yes, we also have a tweet from his vice president. Yes, he says, "Delakwa and I received with profound sadness the news of the passing of His Excellency, former President Muhammadu Buhari, this afternoon. In the moments that followed, we spoke with Her Excellency Aisha Buhari and their son Yusuf Buhari to express our heartfelt condolences and to share in the deep grief of their beloved family, one with whom we had the honor of serving our nation for 8 memorable years. Nigeria's lost a true patriot, a man whose life was sparked by unyielding devotion to the nation he loved. President Buhari's legacy will endure as a testament to the nobility of his public service, defined by honesty, discipline, and unwavering commitment to the public good. We pray that Almighty God will grant comfort and strength to the family and to all who mourn his passing. May his memory always be blessed." That's from his vice president.
That's right. We also have a former president as well, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. "It is with a heavy heart and profound sense of national loss that I received the news of the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari, who died at the age of 82. President Buhari was a notable leader, patriot, and elder statesman who served our beloved nation as both the military head of state and president to the best of his abilities." He goes ahead to talk about what he remembers about the former president, and then at the end of his statements there on X. It says, may Allah forgive his shortcomings, accept his good deeds, and grant him Jannatul Firdaus. Presidential candidate Peter Obi also is on the list. Well, he says, I have just received a very sad news on the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari in London. His death provides a solemn moment, not just for his family and close associates, but for our nation as a whole. President Buhari has always comported himself in a dignified manner as a leader. To his wife, children, extended family, and to Nigerians, I extend my deepest condolences. May Almighty Allah, most gracious and most merciful, forgive President Buhari's shortcomings, reward his efforts in service to the nation, and grant him Jannatul Firdaus. And he says, Ameen. That's coming from the presidential candidate Peter Obi. And of course, we have more coming from Atiku Abubakar, where he also says he's deeply saddened by the news of the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari, a man whose life was defined by unflinching patriotism, stoic discipline, and a lifelong commitment to the sovereignty and unity of our great nation. He goes there to say that his death is not just a loss to his immediate family and the people of Daura. It is a profound national tragedy. Nigeria's lost a statesman who bore the burdens of leadership in both turbulent and triumphant times, and his legacy will be remembered for generations to come. And as usual, he ends it there. But it's we do have more messages, pouring in, more condolences, especially reaching out from the politicians and those who equally served in the same 8 long years of his presidential ambition, talking about also carrying out his role as Nigeria's president. But that's not all. One of the things we've also seen in the course of this is the fact that his close friend as well equally died yesterday. And it seemed like it was just hours apart. And that's the picture that you see there.
Adetono, the Aujale of Ijebu land. Exactly.
Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetono, he passed away yesterday. The Ogun State government confirmed the report. Now, Oba Adetono, who ascended the throne in 1960, is one of Nigeria's longest reigning traditional rulers and a highly respected voice among Yoruba monarchs and across the country. And he equally passed away yesterday. They were both known to be, very close associates. And it's quite sad that these two persons would go on the same day. But that's, like we say, that's what life is.
It's life.
Yeah, that's life. But there's also a video that was trending yesterday. The video did show the human side of the former President Muhammadu Buhari. And when we say the human side, I would want to say yes. We may have known him for words such as in the other room, you recall, when he said his wife belongs to the other room. She has nothing.
Nigerian youths.
And I do recall, because I remember while we were on Breakfast's show, that's the Breakfast Central show, what we have here now, I do recall some videos of him, laughing, where he would laugh his heart out. He always laughed his heart out at a certain point. But there's this video where he said that he would like to apologize.
And I guess we should listen to that.
Let's take a look at the video.
Whoever thought that there has been some form of injustice on him, we are all humans. There is no doubt I hurt some people, and I wish they would pardon me. And those that think that I've hurt them so much, please pardon me. I thank you very much.
Him, and we're all humans at the end of the day, because if you read some of the comments on social media, they're not very kind. And I'm not going to police people for expressing their views. They have their agency to mourn however they want to express their views. But we can only pass comments and say, respect the dead. These things are not. We're humans. We're not infallible. And things like that, but they have all the right to express themselves.
Yeah.
But looking at his softer life, and it was nice that his vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, brought out a few videos, and we could reminisce on, his past. Professor Shibajo wanted to sue some people for libel. They had published things that were damaging to him, and he just wanted to bring it to the notice of his principal that, look, I'm going to court, that this is really bad. He was angry. And then President Buhari told him that you want to sue them, that you need to see what they've written about me. Exactly. That they printed a wedding invitation card that I'm getting married at the National Mosque this Friday. And he said on that Friday, so many people showed up thinking, that was a wedding. Just laugh off these things. And then there was one where he was in an interview, and he was in his presidential jet just reading the newspaper.
Oh, I think I remember that one.
And he saw this cartoon.
Yes.
That they were complaining about his frequent travels abroad. And he said, what do you expect when we have a Fulani man as president? So he was. I think he had a bit of comic humor inside of him, whether we like it or not.
We had a bit of comic inside of him. He was, at a certain point, like I said, the last video we just saw, I think that statement should be a statement that Nigerians should take home, which should go with, where he said he knows that he may have hurt a lot of people, but all he just wants to say is he's sorry. In other words, he was simply saying, just forgive me if I've done wrong to anybody. And asking for pardon is one thing we hardly see from a Nigerian politician.
They
never say that. But in line with all what we have said, I mean, we've looked at the beautiful side of the former president. We've also looked at the tough side. I want to agree that his administration was one of the toughest ever, because there was COVID-19 and SARS.
Russia-Ukraine
Russia-Ukraine. Was it Russia-Ukraine? Yes. Russia-Ukraine war. There was also, there were many other issues that bedeviled that period, where, especially the COVID-19, I beg to say that how we got through it, of course, we cannot just say we give kudos to the late former president. Of course, we also give kudos to every single person within his administration, the entire team.
And different state executives.
Absolutely. But we must agree that it wasn't an easy ride for him, especially also battling with ill health.
Because he traveled out of the country frequently.
We saw him travel more, so much.
It was a very tough presidency.
So it wasn't really easy. I would say it was a very tough administration for the president. However, if we decide to now flip the page and look at the other side, I would like to say that this is a reminder to every single politician out there that life is fickle. Life is not constant. What we've seen out there from social media, unfortunately, we can't bring the other side of social media. We feel it's not
the timing.
It's not the time to do that. You may be angry. You have your growls. You have your differences. But sometimes you might want to say it in a way that, of course, also shows that, okay, you are a bit civil in a way. But what we want to say here is, whoever you are, death doesn't care. Death is not a respecter
of status,
designation, position,
wealth,
whatever you do. But you will be remembered for the things that you did.
You account for your time.
Your account.
And you can't tell people what to say once you're gone. So
that's it.
In order to prevent people from saying negative things about you, live an exemplary life while you're here. Make that difference.
Like they say, make it count.
Make it count.
And that's exactly what we've seen. Another issue, apart from that, which is a reminder to all politicians, is that the president, just like his predecessor, late former president Musa Yar'Adua, also died outside the shores of a country that they both ruled and governed.
Says a lot.
In quotes, that says a lot. You would expect that a country with its wealth, a country that has immense and blessed natural resources, would be able to cater. And people, yes, would be able to cater not just to its citizens, but of course ensure that its wealth is being used to build infrastructural developments that will be able to care also for the president. But it hasn't been that.
Even
first class citizens.
Yes,
and
even first class medical facilities for the president. I remember Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. He just turned 100 a few days ago. He was Malaysia's former prime minister twice. And in his book, Doctor on Call, he's a medical doctor. There was a time he had to go for gastric bypass operation, and they said they were going to fly him to the United States. He said no, that this is going to have a negative effect on confidence of the people in Malaysian health system. So he decided to have that operation in Malaysia, and it was successful. He just turned 100 a few days ago as a mark of confidence and a statement that...
Can we say the same here in Nigeria?
Unfortunately, no. Yeah.
So I think the leaders, wherever they are this morning, while there's a Federal Executive Council meeting, of course, to look at how they'll be able to eulogize the former president, it's also a good time for the leaders to sit down and have some form of rethink. Sadly, many have said it will never happen, but that's the power of what death can do. It can bring reality to you and let you know that...
a hard reset.
Hard reset.
A reminder that we're only here for a limited time.
2 presidents, and we're not going to add some politicians, have died outside the shores of a country that they rule. And if you're going to look at, when I was looking at the years apart from when former President Musa Yar'Adua died down to what we just saw yesterday, are you going to say it's enough time?
So I've been able to...
The
first-class hospitals in Nigeria, it's the confidence and the belief that you can only get the best medical attention outside the shores of this country. Some people would debate this, but I mean, there are people that come into Nigeria for certain operations from other climes and that, but it's a confidence in the system that, look, I can stay here and get the best medical attention. Maybe there are a few, but I'm sure there
I agree with you partially that there are a few, but I'm going to put it in a percentage. I would say there are 40%. I would say the remaining 60%.
Less.
It's less, because if you have a system that is built and grounded on proper medical provisions, especially for the people, it takes nothing for even the leaders to say, listen, we've provided it. You can, and remember, seeing is believing. And I think seeing is believing in the sense that it trickles down to every single citizen that can have access to medical care.
But on the flip side of things, in fairness, I mean, he's an old man. He's been going for a constant checkup.
Yeah. There's
a medical history. He has a certain doctors, and you don't expect it to change it overnight. Maybe that hospitals and the doctors have his medical record from when he was president or before president. So it will be hard to, and you know, you want to go to even little things like your car wash. You want to go to where you're familiar with. And I guess that's why he had to return to London.
Like I said,
all said and done, I mean, he's not here anymore. And may God grant his family the fortitude to bear the loss. We mourn with them, and may God grant him eternal rest.
Anyway, as we progress on the program today, we would also be talking to our correspondent who will be live in very close to the former president's area, and we'll get to find out what the people are saying. And most importantly, we'll also have guests join us to speak more about his legacies and his life. Away from that, which we're going to return to, let's also highlight the fact that the local, the LGA elections.
Local government elections in Lagos State,
in Lagos
commercial
State,
capital,
held over the weekend. We do not know what to term or call it, but many have said that it was completely a no election day. It looked completely like it was a day of mourning. News Central, you know what we do as usual. We were able to cover all grounds and spoke to every single person. And the reactions, the responses that we got, especially from our correspondents, who will equally be joining us later on in the course of the show, was nothing to write home about, Benga. You had people saying, we'd rather play football than do what? Than vote.
And then later,
confidence
they complain about bad governance. The local government is one of the most important, if not the most important, elections in Nigeria. It's the closest arm of government to the people. And to see the lackadaisical attitude of a lot of Nigerians towards this election is quite sad. And there might be two reasons for it. Knowing, number one, a lot of people, and looking at the pattern around the country and the way local government elections are conducted, the people have lost hope in any form of fairness. So they will rather not bother participating since it seems the results always favor the ruling party in that state. So it's almost like an exercise in futility. And I guess that's why they've decided to stay at home. And the other reason is we don't have so many information about these elections holding. People don't even know the candidates or their plans. That's why we see things. It's not just a Lagos problem. It's countrywide.
There were many issues, Benga. The issues were many. If we're going to highlight them, it's going to take us a long time, but it's something we're going to do this week. We have to break it down. And this, many have said, is a threat to Nigeria's democratic setting, Nigeria's democracy. How do we mean? There were issues of not having complete political parties on the ballot. There were issues of people not finding, where they were registered to vote. They were told to later move to another place, move to another area.
It was a mess.
Don't forget too that we did have guests prior to the elections, and they said the same thing. It was like they preempted or they predicted what was going to happen. They said, listen, during the election day, you're going to see what was going to happen. But then again, we have a former deputy governor who was equally there, and she had her own thoughts, and this is what she said.
The observation is that obviously there is plans to rig this election.
Okay.
Because people have not been able to vote in their units. When you get to your unit, they said they've given them a list of names. I have been to my own unit. My name is not there. There are units which are supposed to be in front of a hotel. They have brought them here to Ajose Adeogun. So it shows, and many people are not able to vote because they have, in fact, completely disrupted all the polling units. I am calling for the cancellation of this election because there's a clear effort to rig the election in favor of one party. Because otherwise, why is it that people are not able to vote in their units? Why is it that units have been disrupted?
That's the former deputy governor of Lagos State, Senator Makerele there, speaking. And she wasn't the only one who had that issue. It was everywhere.
A lot of people. And it's like I said, this problem is not unique to Lagos, but it doesn't mean it should be tolerated. It was a sham of an election. And a lot of people thought, going by what Lagos terms itself to be, center of excellence, that at least there will be some level of transparency and, the elections come with their own issues, but this was it was almost a foregone conclusion. And there was nothing democratic about this. But there's hope, there's light at the end of the tunnel. As we speak, the House of Representatives, they're looking at a bill that has killed the second reading to create another electoral commission to conduct local government elections nationwide. So we won't have this state independent. So they are only independent in name. So it will be uniform, it would have a federal look, and then they will conduct this local government elections with the full, almost like INEC. And I guess when that happens, it will restore a lot of confidence and transparency. And
I think as we wrap this
up, if that bill passes into law.
Anyway, as we wrap things up, let's. Someone asked a question, and we just want to clear the answer. We just want to put the answer out there. For the fact that there was voter apathy and people did not come out to vote, doesn't it mean that the politicians have gained the upper hand and they will continue to win?
That's it.
The answer is actually no. What it simply does, just to answer, is that it puts distrust and it puts the current democracy that we are running, that we have now, in a place where it's completely unsafe. Because what that means is when people don't believe and trust in it, it means that they would seek alternative. And that would push them to go to the extra limit at a certain time and a certain point.
So the more reason why they should come out.
So it's dicey. It's dicey. We've seen this happen in other countries. But then again,
elections.
We'll have more conversations around this. Let's bring to you our top stories for today on a Monday morning here on Breakfast Central. Today on Breakfast Central, our top stories. Ex-President Buhari passes on. Yes, we would look at the life and times. We'll have a few persons join us to discuss this. We'll also look at Muhammadu Buhari's life and legacy, not forgetting too the last moments and some of the things that he had done, especially while he was in power. FCT Minister Wike hosts Labour Party Sowore. I hope you saw the pictures. What are we saying about that? Plus, we will speak about the NDDC as a whole stakeholders plenary in Port Harcourt. And we have the front pages of the newspapers as well. Every single bit of it here on Breakfast Central. Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Let's start off our conversation this morning away from the death of former president. We'll go back to that story. But let's tell you that the Labour Party has officially thrown its presidential ticket open ahead of Nigeria's 2027 general elections, a move that has sparked renewed conversations about the party's trajectory, internal democracy, and potential flag bearers in the party. Fractional National Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party, Abayomi Arabambi, stated this during a press briefing in Abuja.
Mr. Peter Obi was the Labour Party's presidential candidate in the last general election. However, Obi, although still a member of the Labour Party, recently joined the coalition movement under the African Democratic Congress, ADC, and has declared his intent to contest the 2027 presidential election.
Meanwhile, a faction of the Labour Party has condemned factional leader Julius Sowore over a viral image which we're about to show to you on the screen, showing him exchanging pleasantries with the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. Move, the party says, is further proof of Abore's deep entanglement with forces destroying the Labour movement from within. Well, joining us for today's discussion is Fractional National Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party, Mr. Abayomi Arabambi, who made the announcement over the weekend concerning the opened choice of a presidential candidate come 2027. It's good to have you join us this morning.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. And thank you for having me.
All right. First off, before we proceed,
let me also greet Nigeria over the death of the former president that happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And also, we lost our Reverend King, the Abujad of Ijebu land, also same yesterday, even though they were friends. I pray to God that may God give the family the fortune to bear the loss, and may God forgive them, grant them forgiveness in Nigeria.
Thank you. I was going to ask your thoughts on that already, but thanks for sharing. Now let's go into the meat of the conversation. Just over the weekend, a video was in circulation showing you declaring the seat, presidential candidate seat of the Labour Party opened. What's going on? You had mentioned that you gave Peter Obi 48 hours, even though the 48 hours had elapsed. We didn't hear anything from you. It seems like it took way longer.
I understand that Peter Obi is still a member of the Labour Party.
Yeah, so let us know, is the presidential candidacy thrown open, or Is it a case of trying to ensure that truly you want Mr. Peter Obi gone from the Labour Party?
No, the presidential ticket has been thrown open, so that we not make the mistake we made in 2023, where we just on the platform of vote, give you the presidential ticket, and we now compared Professor Party to me, I think one other woman, and Fadri Joseph, Fadri Joseph, is certified nurse in the US. We now have to compare them, to step down for him. But at the end of the day, Obi became, an ungrateful soul to the party, where he decided, with other predators, to think the party can now be hijacked, for his own selfish reasons, just like before, where even his own friend now, the senator, in 2010 accuses him of an attempt to hijack, Abga, when he was national chairman, before, he was sent back into PDP. And from PDP, he failed. His hijack process also failed. He came to the Labour Party, and his hijack process has also failed. So we are now saying that he will come to the party like every other person. We are not going to give him he doesn't have first right of refusal now in 2027. If he want to protest, he will join the party. As far as we are concerned, he will have to join the party, talk to delegates. He will make himself, he will have to make himself available during the primary. So that whether he's going to win or not, we don't know. But as far as we are concerned, he has spotted, Peter Obi has spotted, to ADC.
But Mr. Rabambi, let me button as well very quickly. Last time you were here, we did ask if there was an official letter detailing, stating, mentioning that he had left Labour Party. And mind you, just over the weekend, while you were making your announcement last week, your presidential candidate also did speak while he was in the Southeast that he has not left the Labour Party. So what's really going on?
It is not his own right, to leg in into the Labour Party and to leg another leg, into ADC. It is crystal clear. You cannot belong to two, political parties. Yeah, Obi is not a man that respects party hierarchy. Yeah, if not, he was there fully introduced as the leader of Labour Party coalition in ADC by Senator Dino Melaye. We have the video. If you want to challenge that, we'll present as an evidence against it. As far as we are concerned, he is not the leader of Labour Party. Just for him to think everybody will have to obey, his rules and caprices in the party. No. He, on his own, decided to go and join, the ADC coalition. And he keeps saying, I'm in Labour. But the coalition, ADC coalition was 2027. What is the meaning of that? Did they think we don't know what we are doing? No, we are people that know what we are doing now. As far as we are concerned, as a party, it can be supported. The people that went there with him in the KGB, as that will not come to ADC, or not hold any position in Labour other than former president candidate. So he has joined them. He was on the table when the former Senate President David Mark was inaugurated, and when the former Minister and Governor of Osun was inaugurated, at the Secretary David Mark as National Chairman. So as far as we are concerned, he appointed to ADC for the coalition, which they claim is the best, but we are not going to concern ourselves with that.
Now, Mr. Rabambi, over the weekend, the fractional chairman of your party, Omoyele Sowore, was seen in a picture with the FCT minister, and he sent tongues wagging that what could be the interpretation of this? That does this confirm what people in the grapevine have been saying, that there are agents within the Labour Party that are destabilizing it in order for doing the work of the ruling APC? How do you respond to this? And can you give us an idea what that meeting was all about?
it's just a Sunday thing now, You can choose to say hello to
I can see you smiling. That smile has a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
Your body language.
You can choose to say hello. Yeah, you can go and say hello to your friend anywhere. You and I knew. I mean, if it will be, who's a club, the Yam Festival Club, headed by Senator Nenadi, complaining. You saw it with, Shehu Malami. Is Shehu Malami a member of APC? But he will tell you, it is for nothing, it's for nothing. No, their own is for something, because Shehu Malami had even declared for ADC coalition. The same coalition in 2014 that brought this controllership on Nigeria. That was the people who were fraternizing with. Minister Yeson Wike is a PDP member. I challenge anybody to tell me whether he has ever attended APC meeting other than, in the course of his official duty. So for him to have gone to see, a friend and a fellow opposition member, for people now to misconstrue that, to say, those are the people that had the disabilitation of Labour Party, had the disabilitation Labour Party. Were they the one, that make all the National Assembly members to be responsible, to the party, people that we gave life to? Were they the one that made Obi to go and convene illegally against section 82(1) and 5 of the Electoral Act in Abia? Were they the one that made Obi to come to talk up in Abuja, where they, frontally attack the Labour Party by claiming that all the executive at the ward and the local, have been dissolved? Who gave him that power? Who gave him the power to do so? Is it, Minister Yeson Wike that told him to want to attempt to hijack Labour Party? Are they the one that turned him into a predator in Labour Party? Are they the one that said he has to be ungrateful, to the party that brought him so much fame, that today Obi will say, without me, Labour Party is dead? And we are not, in fact, like I said, we are going to expel him in our next meeting, coming up shortly. But if he jumped to Anambra, campaigning with Mogalu, do you know the executive there? Those are our own executive that they were campaigning with, saying you are a member of the Labour Party. Why would a man be so inconsistent? You said, Apure is no more the chairman of the party. You got a Supreme Court government that didn't declare Nenadi, and they came, to the air of, they came to Nigeria with a manifest lies and distortion that, it was Nenadi's man. Why was it not with Nenadi's man, campaigning? Why was it not with Senator Nenadi, whom they claim was their own secretary? It is very wrong for him to take. It is unconstitutional for an individual to belong to two parties at the same time. He has said he belongs to the coalition. The same coalition that vilified Jonathan in 2015. The same coalition that brought on to hardship for 80 years. The same coalition that, for me, let me say something very clear. The election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, everybody might be thinking, demanding election or something, but for me, I believe it's for the atonement of the sin of 2015 to 2023. That is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is paying now. Because you see a lot of people insulting him. Look at the way the economy, they were the one that brought the economy, to that level. This same coalition, all of them were with him in that ship. But because of, the way the ship is doing, in the middle of the sea, they now want to jump into some ferry boat so that they will not escape. That is this Abalami, all the APC, El-Rufai, and co that want to join ADC. No, they cannot join ADC. They must go back to go and atone for their sin, because they were the one that brought catastrophe on Nigeria. They were the one that made us poverty capital of Nigeria. They were the one that, made sure our economy collapses. All of them, they were together. So for whatever that is happening, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is there, to atone, for the sin. So all of them will go and do restriction. They cannot just jump ship and run, into ADC. Who are the people that think will clear the mess? This one joined President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and clear the mess they created for that 8 years. 2015 to 2023. They need to go and clear that mess, because they were the one that removed a doctor and now made a professor a vice president, to the late president. These are the group of people.
Okay,
they used the Chibok as a small screen. But again, there was that banditry also in that administration.
Mr. Rabambi, I want us to break it down. So, are you saying that the APC is the major cause of what we have today in the country?
100%.
Okay.
Because they started in 2015. So the mess that the mess of their own, involvement in the maladministration, governance, institutionalized slavery, caused between 2015 and 2023 is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is now trying to, take care of. That's why I said it is for the atonement. Because I didn't think it was any other person that got elected in 2023. Military will have struck because they would think, this person is incapacitated. It's not capable to govern Nigeria. But you see, the man at the end of the affair now want to clear the mess for the first 4 years before we will now challenge the election. But it is wrong. It is wrong for those people is associates in that maladministration because they were the one that brought the president upon Nigeria. They were the one. So all of them need to go back to APC. They must remove themselves from this APC and go back to APC. Let them go and join hand with it, so that all of them will now pay for the atonement of the sin they brought on us because they were the ones that brought him. They were the ones that brought the administration in 2023 with all manner of lies. They vilified the administration of Jonathan, and they made sure they succeeded, in getting us back, 60 years. They threw Nigeria back 60 years where 95% of our armies were used, to be servicing debt.
Okay, Mr. Rabambi, let's look at present-day Nigeria and take a peep into the future. You seem to be positioning the party for post-Peter Obi future, but let's not forget that Mr. Peter Obi put Labour Party on the map with this obedient momentum.
I disagree.
Allow me to land, sir, and then you could respond. In 2020, post Peter Obi in the Labour Party, how do you expect to continue this momentum that Mr. Peter Obi brought with the obedient movement once it's gone? Don't you think there will be such a huge vacuum and he will be leaving with a critical mass of his supporters? And why are you in such a hurry to get rid of him?
No, we are not in any hurry. I said by themselves and others with the NSC president. It's only the TUC that is not part of the shenanigans. They converge in Abia and in Abuja transport to say, they have taken over Labour Party. Now, to your narrative, to what you just said now, that was a false narrative being peddled. And that is why we will be expelled. So that we want to push on to Nigeria that Obi was just a child of circumstances. Like I said, this coalition, Nigeria was tired of the late President Buhari administration of 8 years. Nigeria was tired of the previous PD administration. And that was why the third force, led by President Batitomi, they joined us. We were already a third force before Obi came. Don't forget, Obi came till 2 days to the end of our presidential primary. When we have started, we have done all our delegate election, we have done the House of Assembly, all the primary have been concluded. So it wasn't to be, he was just a child of circumstances because Nigeria was yearning for change and the Free Labour Party, as that party, that will take them to the promised land, and Obi just happened, to be the beneficiary.
So you think he had nothing to do with this personality? We have won
election with Governor Mimiko I'm coming. You knew Governor Mimiko was a governor under Labour Party.
But
you knew
that's governorship.
Was a senator under Labour Party.
Yes, but that's if we look at it carefully, we'd say that's governorship. We're talking about the presidential election, which of course covers the entire state of Nigeria.
It is the same thing. It is the same thing. He is not the alpha and omega of Labour Party. We will expel him. So let him now carry that.
So he has not been expelled yet.
If everybody is saying, it was because of Peter Obi that Labour Party did this, we will prove to him that Labour Party is the party loved by Nigerians.
All right, Mr. Rabambi,
It is better so that he will not be sleeping with that narrative that if I sleep, Labour Party, I slept. If I woke up, Labour Party, I woke up. No, that narrative has to be changed. Okay. As far as we are concerned, he's a gunner, in Labour Party. He's a gunner.
All right, he's a gunner, you say. We're out of time, but before we wrap up, just last question so you can answer very quickly. I don't know if Benga also has a question he would like to ask, but my question is, as we wrap up this conversation, we can categorically say that, one, the presidential ticket under the Labour Party has been declared open, which simply means Mr. Peter Obi does not have an automatic ticket. Are we right? Yes or no?
100%.
Okay. Secondly, you had mentioned the last time you were here that you're going to present in quotes, a lady who you will be putting forth as your presidential candidate. Is that going to happen anytime soon? Is she also going to fight for the ticket?
You see, for the avoidance of doubt, the woman in question, I think, has some other international engagement, which she said might not allow her, to wait for a further 2 years before she can come and run for presidency. So it is her decision. But as far as we are concerned, we have, other entrants who are showing interest. Even one is Paduri Joseph, who ran with Peter Obi, that we made to step down. They're not from the US. And I know, and some few others, who are now, meeting the party to say, oh, we are ready, to give it a try in Labour Party primary. But primary there won't be any automatic ticket for anybody. If we have 10, we are going to present the 10 for primary on the day of the presidential primary, and I pick a candidate who is not going to slug it out, with the incumbent APC and whatever that is remain, for this coalition. We are ready to face whoever they present, even if it is Peter Obi, if it is Atiku, if it is former Minister of Transport. We are ready. But I know the election for 2027 will be between the APC, the Labour Party, and the Yahoo coalition. That is as far as we are concerned. Those are the three parties, that will go into that presidential contest. But I know Nigeria will not choose Yahoo again.
Finally, before we let you go, will this presidential ticket that you've declared open, would it be zoned? Because in that unwritten gentlemanly agreement, it's still the turn of the South to produce the president. So if a northern person is interested in the Labour Party ticket, would it be open to them?
No, it's open, to candidates. I get me from the South, because it is the turn of the South.
Okay, thank you for
we have to update our ATI. If they give us the opportunity, we will just complete the term of the current president, and if we lose, we'll say congratulations to whosoever that emerges.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Robin, for speaking with us, and we look forward to hear some more good news from the Labour Party. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, away from that conversation,
good morning.
Absolutely. Away from that conversation concerning the Labour Party throwing open its presidential ticket ahead of 2027, let's go back to the current situation happening there in Daura. We do have our correspondent who is joining us. Jamil joins us this morning. If you can hear us, good morning to you.
Hi, Jamil. Good morning. And I believe you're joining us from the hometown of the late President Muhammad Buhari in Daura. Can you give us an update of what you've witnessed since the announcement of his passing yesterday, and what things looking like in his hometown, and what are the feelers from the people you've spoken to so far?
Okay, it's been part of a grief and, thing. We were here yesterday, and we spoke to a lot of people, and in front of the Emir's Palace. But yesterday when we came to Daura, we went to his residence. It was quiet and it was empty. And this morning, you can have a glimpse of, how his house looks like now. There are police cars, army vehicles, stationed in front of the house. And there is a bit of a blockade, before they give you access into the road. They have to ask you a lot of questions. And, but still, to my surprise, I thought when I come here, I will see people, trooping to his residence, maybe hanging around or something. But probably we have to go back to the Emir's Palace where we're going to see maybe massive crowd. As we were told yesterday, when the announcement was made, a lot of people gathered at the Emir's Square, where they were exchanging, pleasantries and, grieve and pain. And, most of the people we spoke to, particularly there was a person I spoke to, he told me that the last time he felt this kind of pain it was when he lost his mother. And, Buhari has this protection with the people there. Even when he, finished his tenure, he spent almost a year there. So, the mood here is calm and everywhere is silent, is quiet. People are grieving. As we heard, the body will be here later, he will be buried around 4:30 to 5 in the evening. And any moment from now, we shall be seeing a lot of people, yes, especially within Katsina local government and outside Katsina from other states, maybe and from Niger Republic as well. A lot of people will be trooping in to pay their condolences to the Emir of Daura in particular and to the family of the late president. But I confirm that none of the family members is here.
Little network glitch there. Let's see if we can get Jamil back on the air.
And I was about to ask Jamil what the plans are, if any arrangements have been, announcements have been made, and expectations from today. But it's still 8:08 in the morning, and I'm sure Katsina Airport will be very busy today, as lots of top politicians and Nigerians will be trooping to Daura. It's going to be a bit of a mecca because of the type of personality the late president was. Now, Jamil, could you tell us what to expect today in Daura? And has there been any announcement of the funeral for the late President Muhammadu Buhari?
Yes. The state governor, Governor Duka Umar, yesterday during an interview, he said the burial ceremony will take place today at around 4:30 to 5 p.m. in the evening. So we will be expecting, governors from other states, top dignitaries, ministers, and maybe the presidential delegation, or perhaps we are yet to confirm even if the president will be joining, the other dignitaries here in Daura for the burial ceremony. But like I said, here is a bit quiet. Just security personnel, doing their routine, briefings. But like I said, from here, I'm heading back to the Emir's Palace. From there, we can see and we can begin to see the kind of dignitaries that they are arriving at Daura. But believe me, Daura is going.
I think we've lost. Jamil, it's going to be a very busy day for you. Yeah, it's going to be a very busy day for you, Jamil. So we will be joining you.
Okay. I'm sure the network is not allowing this conversation to be smooth. But then again, we'll try and, as much as possible to get back to you and find out what will be happening there, especially at the hometown of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. But let's move away quickly and go straight to what's coming up next here on Breakfast Central. Coming up next, APC wins all chairmanship seats across Lagos. It's a conversation we're going to have. Securing Abia State, it's a conversation as well that's causing a lot of differences here and there. We'll be addressing Nigeria's economic hardship. Stay here with us.
There has been celebrations in the streets of Lagos following the landmark win of the All Progressive Congress at the just concluded local government elections. In Lagos, the APC won Saturday's elections, sweeping 57 chairmanship seats and 375 out of 376 councillorship positions. The Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission, which announced the results on Saturday, said the APC swept the polls in all 20 local government areas and 37 local council development areas of the state.
Well, let's also tell you that opposition figures from the People's Democratic Party to Labour Party are crying foul, alleging electoral irregularities, vote suppression, and what they call institutional bias. The claims have reignited debates on electoral integrity and political arrogance. But joining us to discuss is PDP chairmanship candidate for Ikosi Sherry local government area. We do have Mr. Julius Olaoluwa Shugbeso. He joins us here live in the studio. We also have our correspondent and reporter who was on ground to cover the entire election, who's also here with us. We do have Chairman Debeng, who joins us as well. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. I'm going to start off first with you, Mr. Shugbeso. You seem to look unhappy, especially what took place over the weekend. Can you share with us what your complete thought about the elections on Saturday would be like?
Well,
your assessment.
If the term democracy is to be defined, then what happened on Saturday is a far cry from what democracy is in all ramifications. It's a far cry. What we saw was muzzling of voters and monetizing of the entire process. Multiple voting, rigging on a pro-max level, and you see ballot boxes not getting to the venue. We have to start doing live videos at some of the venues to make awareness that up to the time the polls got over, those last officials never showed up. We have about 5 of such incidents at Ward E, part of Ikosi, is sharing. That is Orioke, K to Orioke, that's Ward E. We have similar incidents too at Ward D and Ward A, where I came from, and it's just a shambles all the way. That was not what democracy is all about.
Would you say you expected a better conduct, knowing that Lagos State is governed by APC, and if you look around at the country, especially when it comes to local government elections, there's always a clean sweep for the party in charge of the state. It happened in the Labour Party in Abia State. You could say the same across the country. So is it a uniquely Lagos problem?
Well, we've been seeing this repeating itself all over the country. But this Saturday, I didn't contest against Princess Bada. I contested against the governor of Lagos State, because what happened was just way beyond what I've ever seen before. And permit me to say this: the candidate of the APC, under the law that governs the Lagos State local government and local government development area, she cannot be sworn in the 3rd term. We've been announcing this all over. I was on radio, I was on TV, discussing this with.
So this is our 3rd run.
Yeah. Honorable Olusonya died, and she was the deputy, she was the vice, she was sworn in, and she ran the last election. Now, this will be the 3rd sworn in she's going to have.
Did she complete the term of the late local government chairman?
Yeah, she did.
But it could be argued that she
just completed that she didn't.
And it's not a first term. Yes.
The law talk about being sworn in. That's what the law's all about. On the 3rd of July, the governor wrote an executive order to the Lagos State House of Assembly, advising the Lagos State House of Assembly to delay the commencement of the law to August 1st. Of course, the law is already effective right from the day it was signed, because there was no date attached to it. There's no commencement date. So, and there was still time for the APC to change their candidates, which they never did. And it affected two different local government area of Lagos State. I think Agbado Okeodo was also affected with a similar scenario, and the candidate had to step down, and it was replaced. But in my own case, in my own LCDA, the lady was not changed, and she ran for the election, only for the government to come out on the 8th, and that was Tuesday, to announce that that law is going to commence on the 8th, on the 4th of August. Well, we have been interacting and been seeking advice from legal corner, and we all know that for any part of the law to be amended, to be deleted, to be altered, you have to send an amendment bill to the House, and that's to go through the same process the law went before such effection can be made.
Wow. That's another angle to this, but
okay.
we do have Chairman.
Chairman,
I mean, Saturday was a busy day, moving from one polling unit to the other. There were claims that some polling units never existed, and those that existed all of a sudden grew wings, flew away, and disappeared. Can you share with us what your experience was like on Saturday?
All right, so on Saturday, I covered about 5 different locations. I believe it was Ikeja, Alimosho, Agege, Festac, as well as Jerome Ifelodun, pardon my pronunciation. And a couple of things that we were looking out for during that period was whether people were voting for parties versus the actual candidates, or if they were, if they had the desire to even vote at all. And going to Ikeja, I think Ikeja was the only place where people were actively coming out to vote. As a matter of fact, they were waiting for the LASEC officials to be there. They had music playing, everybody was standing around. And based on the conversation that we had there were mixed responses. Some were about the party, some were about the candidates. But the moment we left Ikeja, it was a different ballgame. We got to Agege, went through about 6 different polling units. All of them were empty.
Empty of officials or voters?
There were officials, actually.
Okay.
There were officials. The only place where officials hadn't yet shown up was at Alimosho. They were about an hour late, and the excuse that was given was an issue of transportation. But in Agege, we went through about 6 different polling units. Officials were present, but nobody came out to vote as of the time that we were there. Because we were moving from place to place, it's possible that people eventually came out after we passed that area, but even when we did a 180 to go back and see, there weren't a lot of people. And having that conversation with the LASEC officials, they told us that it was an issue of misinformation, telling people that there's no movement, but then you have individuals coming out to play football on the streets. But you tell them that, it's misinformation because you told them to stay at home. That's why they're not out. But yet, they're out on the streets. And while we were moving around as well, at a point in, I believe, Festac, or was it? I think it was Ifelodun. There was a particular aspirant that was there, and he complained that despite getting clearance, despite getting accredited by LASEC, his own party did not appear on the ballot paper. And this was not the only situation that actually happened. We've visited a couple of other places where there was only one party on the ballot paper.
And what party? That's the APC.
There was one that was just APC and PDP. There was one that was only PDP. There was one that was only APC. So you're left with only one party to vote for. And if you're really talking about having free and fair elections, it can't be only one party on the ballot paper. There has to be other people coming out to represent the people.
Wow. Mr. Shumasa, what do you think this does for the future of Nigeria's democracy, especially looking at it from the local government aspect? And what would your party be doing now that you know that things didn't work out as LASEC had promised?
Well, let me start from here. LASEC herself has been heavily compromised. It took me 6 days to go through my verification. And there are so many hurdles that were put before us, because we had to turn it into a mini aluta before we could be, verified. Both the Labour Party, if I asked the question, I asked the second official, I said, wait, okay, you complain, look at us here. We are about 80% of the PDP candidates are here, and almost 90% of Labour candidates are here. No single APC. So you mean that none of them have these issues that you are holding us
What was
onto?
the reason for what was the clearance process like?
Okay, you see, the Electoral Act is very clear. But when they start doing things outside the Electoral Act, asking us, for example, to bring 20 PVC, both the front and back, photocopied, along, those submissions were not passed when we were filling the forms, submitting the forms. They were not passed. And I got to know 9 p.m. and I have to be at the SEC office by 8 a.m. So I just expect me to go around getting 20. Some of them are not in the state, where I stay. Some have traveled, some have gone to work. And how do I get to, so I think I came at about 18 and I was turned back. And even the hostility, instead of the full people that are going to be screening, you just see empty seats here and there. Just a few of them are seated screening us, and they deliberately just make it very slow. Because when APC came, around by 2 p.m., the place is cleared. We are going to eat. Because, how come yours is taking so long? By 2 p.m., on Saturday, all these people are gone. Well, and you start having the feelers from the people around. And so, so I went to the more like the reception. I went to the reception. I met some people at the reception. I started asking questions. How come this is about 5 p.m. and we are still here? The day I was cleared, I left at 5:30 a.m. You can imagine. And when some of us are going home, we are being robbed. Our phones have been taken, and being subjected to different kind of attacks on the street. Because I don't know how someone that's staying in Badagry is going to connect back to Badagry by 2 a.m. and is not driving. You understand? So a lot of us have to sleep on chairs and find a place on the floor to lie. Can imagine these are candidates that are to run in a couple of days, and they deliberately do this. I challenge them, and I walk up to them and challenge them, and I think I tagged you too on the live video, and I was just all over them. That's for LASEC. For the election itself, if you look at the number of voters APC is claiming, nobody came out. There was voting our party all over. And look at I got a call, and I went to a place as at 7 a.m. the box was 90% full. And this happened to be a polling unit close to one of the aspirants, the chairmanship aspirant in APC. And I just shook my head, and I was like, and some of even my councillor for Ward B was beaten. He was beaten because he was questioning why they were seizing the phone of his of the party representatives. The agents were beaten at one of the APC's House of Rep polling units. The agent was beaten and was sent away from. In fact, that happened all over, except it was minimal in my own ward, maybe because of my own presence, But outside my ward, it was free for all. They were just going all around beating people. Voters that will not vote, especially that are not of Yoruba city. So they still did that. Yeah, they both came. They both came to the council. I had to call the DPO, K2 DPO, when I got the wings of that. And what the gentleman forgot to the call, he promised that will not happen. I think he swung into action, and that was stopped because I was about driving to the council, but because of the restriction, it was very difficult for me. Every time the terrain of Ikoto sharing, come from Magodo sharing, try to access Ikosi, I have to go through Berger roundabout and the Ibadan Expressway. So the place was blocked. I couldn't have access. I have to go back. So all I can do is just start placing phone calls call the DPO, call the police, call party leaders around the axis that please, they should go there. And that was how we were able to, prevent the ugliness of what we experienced in the last gubernatorial election in Lagos. And another thing entirely was the kind of money that was
circulation.
Yeah, I had to use my friends. Most are diasporans. They have to, they were here because of me. I can imagine my agent being offered 200,000 naira, one person, and by the time you start hearing the kind of money being told, there was a vehicle that came to my polling unit. They never knew I lived there because I've changed my residence, prior to this election. I came out and I saw the money in Ghana must go bags, and even for, I wanted to just make a scene, get police to hold that money till police comes, but the policeman intervened and started begging that I should allow this thing to go. And I know they were not allowing phones. They were trying to, prevent phones from coming out. Of course, as a candidate, I'm just being careful of my, getting physical with anybody. And I'm just saying that this is just wrong.
You've highlighted a number of things here, and we'll surely get in touch with last year officials to give their own assessments and interpretation of what happened on Saturday. Now, Chamun, you've covered elections in the past, and this is a very different election from the feelers we've been getting and eyewitness account. One of the reasons why some would argue that this irregularities happened is because of the lackadaisical attitude of Lagosians towards the elections, the lack of interest, and the fact that there was high voter apathy. From your interactions with people, what do you think led Lagosians to rather play football than come out to vote in their local government elections, knowing the importance of these elections being the closest arm of government to the people?
Well, honestly, like you said, voter apathy for me was the catchphrase of the day. Lots of empty polling units, like I said earlier on. People would rather play on the streets than actually cast their votes. And a couple of things that I saw and understood based on conversations with the people was the fact that, one, they didn't really see these type of grassroots elections as something so important, which is a massive mistake, because these local government chairmen and councillors, they're the ones that interface with you directly. They're the ones that handle what is going on within that space. It's not that easy for you to reach the governor or reach the president, but these are the people that are there for you. But even more glaring is the voter apathy that exists itself. And it's the fact that many people feel like the politicians that we have today are not living up to the expectations. They make several campaign promises and probably only deliver 2%. And it's more like, okay, let's just do this so that the people can be quiet. And this was the response that I got from many of the people that I spoke to. There was a young man, Taufik Onike, who basically said he doesn't care about these elections because at the end of the day, nothing changes. He spoke about youth unemployment. He spoke about the poor state of education. He spoke about the hospital, which existed within their own areas, talking about how there weren't good doctors, there weren't proper facilities. And at the end of the day, if you feel like your politicians are not really delivering, why should you care enough to come out and say, I will cast my vote, when at the end of the day, it is what it is? They will do as they choose rather than deliver on their campaign promises.
Mr. Shogwenson, during your campaign, what were the feelers like? Did you expect more people to come out? What kind of stories were you hearing? And did it seem like things were going to be fair and fair? What were your expectations?
Well, the constitution happens to be, my ward is about 90% elite, from Magodo to Pinilaga Estate, Amolifis to the Totola Jubilee Estate. Then even though Lower is more or less an elite settlement. I spoke with some of the CDH chairmen, and there's one thing that that was constant, when I talk to most of them, they've never seen any impact of the local government. Most of the roads, our street lights are done by ourselves. We contribute money, we pay heavily for estate deals and security deals to ensure that we are secured, we have good road, we maintain our roads ourselves, and there's absolutely zero presence of local government at the government level. So I told them that we've been having fire hazard on this axis of Federal Bridge constantly. It's almost sure every year it's going to happen. And I told them, local government, there's something fantastic that can be done. We can have a sprinkler system here, solar powered, that whenever these things happen, you just press the button and there's water everywhere, and it's going to hold this thing till the first responders, arrives. Another thing we can do is to station a fire truck here. Since we know that this thing has been happening and we are almost sure it's going to happen again, just a matter of time. And these are things that local government should be doing. In my own words, since 1999, just 3 roads have been fixed by local government.
All right.
4 in total, 1 by the state, 3 by local government, and 1 that has been done is being done by the state. So people just feel there's nothing local government is doing here. That those basic things are being done by the CDAs and the community. And so there is feeling that local government is not for us, it's really not for us. So I try to,
it's a conversation that I think we'll continue to have. But finally, Chairman, can you also share with us, was there police presence during the election?
Mostly, yes. There was police presence in majority of the places I went to. So they had them in Ikeja, Alimosho. I think the only place that I didn't see a lot of police presence was in Agege. But from what I understood, they only had a select few that were basically going around, but they didn't have anyone specifically stationed in a particular area. And I think also the same thing when I went to Ife Lodun. Yes.
Well, I'm sure this is a conversation that we'd like to carry on. But then again, Nigerians would have a say on what they think and thought happened on Saturday, having heard from one who also was vying for a chairmanship position, and most importantly also for our reporters who had covered the election. I want to say thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's continue the conversation as we proceed with what we'll be looking at next after the break. Do stay with us. It's another day in a country where resilience is praised, yet hardship remains the norm. We'll be confronting the challenges facing the Nigerian states, from the issues of economic distress and rising insecurity issues that affect everyone, whether you are in the bustling cities or the rural villages.
Especially as yet another protest is set to hold on the 21st of July, a demonstration against poor pay for security forces in the nation. Though these protests has been frowned against by some, protests have consistently emerged across the country over nagging economic challenges. Join us for today's conversation is convener Revolution Now movement, Mr. Omoyele Sowore. A warm welcome to you and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central. We're happy to have you join us this morning. Now, Mr. Sowore, as we speak this morning, flags are flying at half-mast across the country, and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has declared a 7-day mourning period as a mark of respect on the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari. What's your reaction to his passing, and how would you remember his legacy as president in those 8 years, and also as a former military president?
I have nothing to say to anyone other than to say that it's very sad that we are even having a conversation about mourning a person who left this country broken, did everything he could, everything Buhari touched, he destroyed. He destroyed human rights, he destroyed the economy, he destroyed the dignity of person, he destroyed the social cohesion of the nation known as Nigeria. And I'm not one of the persons who was out there pretending that I miss him. I don't miss him. I was also one of his personal victims, and this is a time to really commiserate and show empathy to his victims from when he was a soldier, someone who participated in killing of people in the Southeast for 30 months during what is now known as the Nigerian Civil War. When he was a military head of state, he violated human rights. he extrajudicially killed some young people who they accused of carrying drugs. When he came back the second time, you know his story. Yes, killings of Shiites, killings of people in southern Kaduna, the killings of NSAS protesters in Lagos, killings for the second time of southeastern young people who were branded as IPOB, the destruction of the Nigerian economy, the destruction of the healthcare system to the point that he himself had to die in a clinic in London because they didn't care about building anything here in Nigeria, which is the country they govern. So it's been a terrible legacy, and I'm not one of the people who want to be politically correct because I see a lot of politicians falling over themselves trying to pen tributes to Buhari as if Buhari was the best thing to happen to Nigeria since the invention of peanut butter. He wasn't, and that's the truth. And I've also seen some of his victims, poor kids in Kano jubilating on the street. I've seen people with bullhorn announcing his death quite derisively. So it's, for me, on a personal level, you know, Buhari was responsible for the death of my younger brother. Buhari violated my rights. Buhari is responsible for why my mom had stroke since 5 years ago. So I said those are the personal level. But this is not personal vendetta. This is about a very honest assessment of a guy who came, who ruined, and now has departed the world.
Well, you did mention that he was responsible for some of the impacts, I would say negative impacts on your family and other things as well. But while we want you to touch on that, because we don't know how that happened, and although you said it's not personal vendetta, some would also argue that he was just a president. And some of the things that Nigerians went through, take for instance, NSAS and the likes, didn't directly fall on his table. I mean, NSAS, we know, was pan-Nigeria, but it was mostly heavy in Lagos. And there was a governor. The governor also did take a report to President Muhammadu Buhari in a picture book to show to him. So many would say we should cut him some slack because he wasn't really in charge of what could have taken place in the state. So how is it that we may blame him for many things that did go wrong?
Well, you can say whatever you want to say about whomever said that, but we are just here not to brainwash people. We're here to tell you the truth about what is historically true about his tenure. He's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The armed forces, particularly the Nigerian army, cannot operate without, on such a scale, cannot operate without a direct order from the president. You can't be deployed. They're not, the state governor, where I'm not exonerating because I know all of them were involved. The state governor of Sanwo-Olu was involved. The current president, Tinubu, was involved in what happened to the NSAS people because they were the ones who prepared the ground for the killing. They were removing cameras. They were the ones who had threatened that something bad would happen. They even notified some of the NSAS protesters, celebrities, that they're going to kill people. But the person who gave the order was Buhari. And Buhari did say it before, after NSAS, that somebody told him that if nothing is done about the NSAS protesters, they might enter his living room in Aso Rock one day. So he was very aware. But, Nigerians, we love to give excuses for bad behavior, and this is part of our nature. I'm not saying about every Nigerian, but some Nigerians. But I have stated these facts that are true, and I have no reason to believe that something otherwise happened. He is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and to now claim that he didn't know what happened is to be helping them, to be helping them play the ostrich.
Now, Mr. Sowore, we have quite a lot to unpack today, so I'm just going to put out this final question on the passing of the late President Muhammadu Buhari. In a video that is currently circulating in a quite sobering tone, the late President did did do some personal reflections, and he did say that in the course of discharging his duties as president of Nigeria, he might have wronged people, carried out some injustices, and he's human and is asking for forgiveness. Would you be willing to forgive him for personal wrongs and wrongdoings to yourself, an injury to your family, knowing that he has passed? On someday, we will all have to answer to our makers.
Well, there's no point gaslighting anybody by saying, oh, would you be willing to forgive somebody who did evil? I'm not questioning Buhari's attack on my family alone. I'm talking about his killing of Shiites. About 1,000 of them that he killed, and El-Rufai helped him bury. It was between him, Buratai, and El-Rufai. He killed over 1,000 Shiites overnight. Men, women, and children. You have to ask how these people feel to be cut short in life because somebody felt offended, or somebody was a religious bigot, or sectional leader. You want to ask how people feel at NSAS to be waving the Nigerian flag during a peaceful protest, and for soldiers to just come and mow people down, and then beyond that, just deny. When you want to ask for atonement of sin, even in religious circles, the first thing you do is to confess. He just came and said, well, forgive me because I'm human. That's not how you to ask for forgiveness. You have to be specific. What did you do wrong? Who did you kill? Who are you asking for forgiveness from? And then it's the prerogative of the person that you're asking for forgiveness from to forgive you. So we have not asked the victims whether they are forgiving him. That's why today should be dedicated to the victims of Buhari's ruinous legacy, his legacy of tyranny and destruction of the Nigerian country. So it is not up to us to sit here and say, oh, he made a 30-second video. And the destruction he did was over 8 years. So it cannot be rectified by 30 seconds video. A half-hearted apology. I don't even know why people say, yeah, but he never apologized. You just saying, maybe he had seen his medical records by then, that he was on his way to Golgotha, and he just wanted to mock people. That's that I say as mockery.
All right. I mean, there's just to move on to our next conversation, which is the key. Let's look at the protest that has been slated to hold this month of July. But before then, let's also inform you that there is a footage that's circulating online showing the late president's daughter having visited the medical center where he passed, and also came out crying. It's an amateur footage there showing the late president's family, daughter, presumably we do hear, and also shows when she did come out and also shedding tears due to the death of her late father. Very, very sad there. But we'll come back to this conversation as we progress in the course of this, talk. Let's move on now. Let's talk about the protest that's coming up. You want to shed more light on why a protest now? And haven't we had too many protests a time? It seems like the protests keep coming and they keep coming. And some Nigerians have said it's less effective. What's this latest one again?
Well, when people say protests are less effective, you ask them, then why is the government worried when there's a plan for a protest? They're very effective. Maybe people who say they are not effective don't understand the power of protests. People decide to protest as their own response to wrongs in society, as their own response or their own way of rectifying what is wrong. So, but as far as this is concerned, this is mainly focused on the wrongs being done to security agencies, particularly Nigerian police, whose condition of service, pension, payments, gratuity, and their general life is, face significant difficulties because of lack of pay, lack of care, lack of equipment, insurance, and those other things that should accompany the job of an average worker. They don't have a living wage, they don't live in conditions of housing that is even anyone can describe as decent. So they are the ones who chose July 21st, by the way. We're just doing this in solidarity with them because we believe that their cause is genuine, and we believe that these issues ought to have been addressed for a long time ago, and they've not been addressed. And we believe that they have the power to change their socioeconomic objective conditions. So that's what this protest has been planned for. And we expect that the policemen who are affected, especially the rank and file, will down tools. They will refuse to work on that day. They are the ones who will plan how they want to do it, but we're just advising and encouraging them to not work starting from July 1st. Some of them have indicated that they will drop their tools the day before, the night before, and to make sure that people understand the value that they add to society. And like I've stated severally, we don't have to prove to anybody that we believe in effective policing or that we believe in discipline. This is not a support for the shenanigans of the Nigerian police force, i.e. extortion, torture, and every other thing that we know them to do terribly. But this is our own way of saying, look, you all have families, you're part of us, you're part of our society, and we need you. And we can't keep you in your position working day and night for us, protecting the society and our communities without a care for well-being. Okay. So that's where that came from. If you want to know, but yes.
Now, Mr. Sowore, is this not an invitation to anarchy, knowing that the police they're the first line responders to protecting lives and properties? They are there to secure the lives of Nigerians. Are there no other means of addressing the issues that concern the Nigerian police other than using a protest? And the type of protest you're saying might happen is them down in tools. If there are criminals watching this program now, they would just set the first of, they will choose a date and say, look, this is the day we want to carry out our nefarious activities. And also, knowing that the Nigerian police has wronged you in the course of your activism so many times, you've been a victim of police brutality in Nigeria. Why are you taking this upon yourself? Is it just a welfare issue, or shouldn't there be larger conversations around police reforms and just restructuring the entirety of the Nigerian police rather than just a welfare issue? Because the fire service will tell you we also have welfare issues. The soldiers will tell you we have welfare issues, and NSCDC rather.
Well, to answer your first question about anarchy, I think what people should be concerned about mostly is Nigeria has been as a result of the way we have treated these men and women in uniform. We are already in a state of anarchy because they are not well paid, they are not well fed, they are not well clothed, they are not well housed. We're already in that state already. We've reached a state where the police no longer crime, they care. They also have become part of the criminal gangs ravaging the country. You and I know that a lot. So it's an action that is aimed at rectifying what will become a total breakdown of law and order if we keep going on this path. It's a perilous path for everybody. If one day you wake up, the guy you bought or you gave an AK-47 decide to turn it on you because they have been complaining quietly over time and you don't listen to them. That is what is anarchy. It is that we're experiencing now. It's a total state of lawlessness to not even adhere to the laws of the land, which says you must pay people a certain amount of money if they go to work, and that wage must be living wage. It's a violation of even I think it was chapter 2 of the Constitution, or is it chapter 4? I don't know exactly what of the chapters. I said that the nation must exist for the well-being of its people and its workers. And I'm quoting the Constitution I don't believe in. But let's just agree for a second that there's a constitution in place that we're running. So it's very explicit. And the second aspect of it, which is my own personal feelings of what the police have done to me over the years. Yes, I've been through a lot in the hands of police. I've been shot at, broken nose, I've been detained, I've been rough-handed. There's probably nothing the police hasn't done to me. So as far back as 1998, I was arrested at the protest at the University of Lagos, placed with people they call armed robbers. That's the first time I discovered SARS in Lagos at Ikeja. During my struggle for democracy, I was detained at Area F. I was detained in every police formation. When I came to Abuja in 2019, my nose was broken. I was detained in a Batio, which is one of the worst police stations in Abuja. I've been detained there twice now. I've been detained at the terrible police formation at the FCID, in a cell that's inside another cell. So there's nothing I haven't been through in the hands of the police, but that's not a reason for us to abandon our responsibilities. And what our conscience tells us is right about doing right by our policemen. And you also mentioned that there are other security agencies, the army, paramilitary, and military organizations, the police. Well, this is symbolic, and what we have asked all of them to do, if you are hurting really bad, join in on July 21st, so that all of these can be taken at once. But if you are quiet about your situation, we will work with those who are willing, who have indicated that they are willing to fight for their well-being and who have stepped forward. And these are mostly policemen. But if you are part of an NCDC, if you are in immigration, if you are in customs, if you are in any of these paramilitary organizations, that you want to join in, please feel free. This is not limited to the police. In fact, the more people we have, the merrier. And the more people join this, you can imagine if we have 10,000 policemen, paramilitary organization, everybody joining in on July 21st. The federal government immediately do something. I can guarantee you that, because they can't even afford a 1-minute strike. You're thinking about society and criminals. No, it's the people that benefit the most from police are those in power. They are the ones who refuse to take charge or take care of their needs. Most Nigerians don't even have access to a policeman, but look at, and a governor in Nigeria has over 200 policemen guarding them. Celebrities have 20 policemen. You have traditional rulers have policemen. Even religious leaders who tell you to believe in protection from God, first and foremost, use police protection. They don't even wait for God. Even when they want to fight you, they use the police. They don't wait for God. So you must understand that this is way more. And I've always said this, that I'm surprised that these are the same people who are quiet about the police situation. And that's why policemen should understand who their real friends are. And do not let this whole blackmail that, if you strike, criminals will take over. They have turned you into criminals anyway by way of the conditions to which you're subjected in service. It should not be a crime to serve Nigeria, but that's what these guys are experiencing on what they are paid, gratuity, pensions, salaries, emoluments, and what their big bosses are doing to harm their careers and their progression in those careers in life. So there's nothing more to tell you other than to say let everybody be set.
Thank you very much.
It's historic.
Thank you so much for your insight and your time, Mr. Omoyele Sowore. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, you're watching Breakfast Central on News Central Television. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll bring you breakfast headlines. You stay with us. Hello, welcome to Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Aborowa. We begin with reports on the ongoing process for the state burial of former President Muhammadu Buhari, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and other past heads of state are expected to converge on Daura on Monday, as the remains of former President Muhammadu Buhari will be laid to rest in keeping with Islamic tradition. Sources from the presidency confirmed that the former president's remains would arrive the country earlier Monday to be flown to his hometown of Daura, Katsina State, for burial. Expectedly, his demise has triggered an outpour of condolences from Nigerians, especially political leaders. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who took over from Buhari in 2013, was among the first to mourn the former leader. He summoned an emergency session of the Federal Executive Council scheduled for Tuesday, July the 15th, 2025, in honor of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. Former military President General Ibrahim Babangida, retired, has also paid a tribute to the late former President Muhammadu Buhari, describing him as a brother, a friend, and a true patriot whose life was defined by unwavering commitment to the nation. From President Goodluck Jonathan expressed grief over the death of Muhammadu Buhari, who succeeded him in office. Then former President Olusegun Obasanjo on Sunday night paid tribute to the immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari, who died in London. Obasanjo described him as a patriot who played his role as a soldier, administrator, and statesman. Obasanjo, who spoke in Abeokuta, Ogun State, said Buhari died when Nigeria needs experience of past leaders to pull the country out of its current crisis.
About Muhammadu is that he tried his best. My prayer is that God will forgive him of his inadequacies and accept him into his kingdom. It's a loss to the nation, because at a time like this, we need the totality of the experience and what I may call statesmanship of all those who have had the opportunity to run the affairs of this country in the past, to get us out of the situation we are in. He will be sorely missed, and may his soul rest in perfect peace.
Former Delta State Governor Chief James Ibori says he is saddened at the death of Nigeria's immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari. In a statement on Sunday, Buhari described Buhari as a patriot with unwavering commitment to the unity of Nigeria. He added that Buhari was a selfless, disciplined and patriotic Nigerian whose invaluable contributions to the socio-political development of the country remains unequaled and will not be forgotten. While condoling with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, former First Lady Aisha Buhari and entire Nigerians, Chief Ibori said the late Buhari was a hero and a great son of Nigeria whose life has been a life devoted to service of his fatherland. Flight schedules at Port Harcourt Airport were disrupted on Sunday following Air Peace aircraft skidding off the runway. While some flights were cancelled, stranded passengers struggled to book alternative flights, seeking new travel arrangements amidst the disruptions. However, efforts by News Central's Biola Festus to reach airport officials and Air Peace management proved fruitless. We bring you her report.
And even tarmac. So most of us didn't realize what was happening, but we knew that the aircraft movement wasn't smooth. At that point, we noticed that the pilot was trying to stop the aircraft. It was like trying to force the aircraft to a stop. And when you look through the window, we see mud and the grasses covering the windows until the aircraft finally stopped with some force. At that point, we looked through some of the windows we could see through. We discovered that we are off. We are told that we can now go down through the radar, and it was just a physical announcement within the within the aircraft.
Let's now cross over to the hometown of late President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura, where we have New Central Katsina State correspondent Jamil Mambai on standby. Hello, Jamil. We spoke to you earlier today, and you said you were going to see what was happening at the Emir of Daura's palace. I believe that's your current location, if I'm not mistaken. Please, can you keep us up to date with events in Katsina State this morning?
Just like you said, currently at the in front of the Emir's Palace of Daura, and as usual, if you can, the gates to the Emirate are still closed, and there is heavy, presence of security personnel here. If you can just tilt the camera towards, this is what they call the square, and you can see vehicles of security personnel, police, and the military all around, and almost all the axes, all the axes leading to the Emir's palace have been barricaded by the police. And I just confirmed that the state government also has announced that today is walk-through day, and where I'm standing currently, inside sources, they told me that's where the president will be buried, for the spiritual rites. Sorry, not buried. The spiritual rites will be done before his burial. And joining me to discuss further on this are some of the people of Daura, so that we can hear from them what it feels, losing their son. Bismillah. Me sunan ka Allah na Salis Lol kan giwa Daura. So ya kaji da ka samu labarin rasuwan shugaban kasa. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Wannan abu ba yadda za mu haka Allah ya so. Ko ba haka ba, dukkan mai rai mamaci ne dama. Allah ji kan Muhammadu Buhari. Rasuwa ta gidi ba mu sosai mutanen Daura da kasar Daura, musamman ma mutanen Daura. Buhari ubanmu ne. Ubanmu ne, Allah ya fi masa, Allah ji kan shi, Allah mushi rahama. Allah saka mai da aljanna firdaus. Okay, he's just saying that he's describing some of the attributes of the President Buhari. He's a person loved by the people, so there. And, before the live we were discussing with him, I was asking him why, I get to see people trooping into the Emir's palace. He told me that a lot of the people are in their residences mourning the death of the president, but probably later, that's when people will start to come out. And most of the activities and commercial activities here are also shut down. And in particular, this morning, he had a deep conversation with one of the closest friends of the president, President Buhari. Let's hear a brief of what he has to say with regards to that discussion. Ka ce maka je wurin wani Alhaji Muhammadu Balarabe wanda sun yi ajin su daya da Muhammadu Buhari. Okay, classmate din Buhari ne. Primary din su daya har ma can kafin soli inda suka yi secondary ajin su daya. Ya ji na irin magana ko wallahi da ya ji an ce Buhari da har da mata shi yana kwanci. Wallahi ya yi mamar da Muhammadu Buhari sosai, abokin shi ne. Idan Buhari ya zo yakan dan leka wurin sukan hira da shi sosai. Mutumin kirki ne, yana yaba muke so, bai ji daɗin rasuwa ki ba, za a yi haka Allah ya so. Okay, he just told me that Buhari, he went to see one of Buhari's friends, and perhaps a classmate to the former president, Balarabe Muhammad. The man was still, Muhammad Balarabe, the man was still in shock. He couldn't eat, and he couldn't believe that his friend is done. And he remembered how the former president usually visits his home, whenever he's in Daura. And this is one of the qualities of the president that the people here have been telling me. Whenever he's around, he has this welcoming gesture to the people of Daura. And again, I have another person, I think, from him, maybe we can also hear from him what it means how he feels and what does he think he can remember Buhari for. Ya kake ji kuma me na Buhari da ba za ka taɓa manta da shi ba a matsayin ka na ɗan Daura.
Don ko barci ne kuma ka ji ba garin da dukkan mutane saboda kowa na cikin inda kai da kanka da ka san ba ta zama duk kaga babu ta to wallahi mutum ta ji da mutane kuma ka san mutum cikin
me yana shi za ka iya tunawa wani abu ne da yayi za ka ba za ka taɓa manta da shi
ba ko a ƙasa
ko a ƙasa ko a nan
da manta da Buhari lokacin yana shiga ƙasa ai abubuwa ya da dama misali akwai su kan power akwai skill feeding din da akwai abubuwa da dama irin su moni abin da ka rinda da su ne ba su kan haka duka abubuwa mutane sun ji daɗi kuma duk da yin da haka ba da ka gani malam Muhammad amma musun wannan firin da ba duka da gaske saboda lokacin Buhari yana da kasa wannan firin da aka yi na program wallahi kullum ne da masani kullum da sabi sai ka samu yara cewa sun da wannan saboda su sai ta ba za mu kwanta da Buhari ya kawo mana cewa kuma annan ya kawo mana da shi dalilin Buhari masani ne ba ran sabi ne dalilin Buhari mun samu kadar da kasa dalilin Buhari mun samu iyaka dalilin Buhari mun samu dalilin Buhari mun samu kadar da kanta kaga duka shi da ne samu kuma kaza ga su da zaka abubuwa da shi da dama ga sanan kuna sun yi da ba tare da Buhari sai da mai addu'a ubangiji Allah ya rahama
in brief, what he just said, yesterday he couldn't sleep and the people of Daura couldn't sleep. And, he remembered how some of the things Buhari have done for the people of Daura, where he cited the federal police in Daura, the transport school in Daura he brought, and some of other, infrastructure that Buhari brought to Daura.
All right, Jamil, I'm wondering if you can hear us.
In particular, he said he is a teacher and he could recall.
All right, can you hear us, Jamil?
He said, I could recall, he said he's a teacher.
Thank you so much. Jamil, it's going to be a very busy day for you in Katsina State today, as we will be keep touching base with you in the course of our bulletins and programs throughout the day. Thank you for giving us that update on activities in Katsina State with regards to the passing of late President Muhammadu Buhari. Thank you for your time. We'll join back. We'll connect with you in the course of our various programming, like I said earlier. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be time for us to look at the newspaper headlines. You stay with us. Breakfast Central continues shortly.
All right. Welcome back. Breakfast Central continues right now. The front pages, we do have one and only journalist and most importantly, public affairs analyst, Mr. Abib Aruna, joins us here live in the studios. First off, we're going to look at the papers very quickly. Let's start off with the Punch, and we'll like his reaction because most definitely all the papers will be talking about the biggest stories. So let's not waste too much time. Tinubu ex-leaders gather for Buhari's burial in Daura today. We do understand that it should arrive soon, and let's just focus on that. You were here on the station yesterday, and you also got a whirlwind of the story. How did you take it when you heard that the former president lost the battle against the illness in which he struggled with?
It didn't come to me as a shock. It did not. Because there have been reports of his illness, that he was flown to London a few days ago, and that the Katsina State government and the federal government were both involved in it's been flown to London to seek quick medical attention, And there are also reports that the president sent his vice to go and check on him last week in London. I don't know how far that one is true. And don't forget that the man has been sick all his while. He's an old man. He has had this lung problem and air problem for a long time. So it did not particularly come to me as a shock, You know, when I took out the news yesterday around 5 o'clock, the man is gone, finally. You know.
And how would you remember him?
If Buhari had not ruled Nigeria,
as a civilian,
the impression I have of him would have been a hero, a man that is incorruptible, a nationalist, a patriot, you know, and a political colossus. I don't think there's anybody like him again in the North. That'd be so popular and so iconic in the way it drives
across the entire North Central, Northeast, Northwest.
Yes, no, across North Central, Northwest. North Central and Northwest. Northwest and Northeast. And a bit of North Central. And when it now came in, because I was involved in the second coming of Buhari, then I left the newspaper. I was working with Alhaji Lai Mohammed. I was actively involved both in the formation of APC and the confirmation of Buhari as a civilian president. You know, that's why I say I'm not particularly happy the way the 8 years went. You know, our expectations were not met. The Buhari we knew, maybe because of his old age, what the Buhari we saw during those 8 years, he came in on 3 planks. 1, insecurity; 2, corruption; and 3, the economy. You know, I will not say that the Buhari succeeded in those things. You know, I won't say that. But all in all, history will judge him. But I don't think history will judge him well in the way he fought corruption. He made fairly operated under him. And look at the level of insecurity in the country. Even the economy was less shambles.
Some of the things we're going through now is as a result of
of his indecisiveness. You know, a leader must be decisive. You know, Buhari was not. Buhari was not. He was too labor. This picture of him taking
aloofness.
Aloofness.
But we're listening. We've been getting eulogies from all. From all quarters. People are saying fantastic things about him.
From politicians.
Yes.
Politicians will praise Buhari. We praise his his patriotism, his contributions to Nigerian politics and development and unity. Politicians, that's what they will do. But a close perusal of what he did, if you look at the way he ruled, if we're going to be objective, as a political scientist, as a political reporter, you know, you may judge him for, as a human being, well, all of us will die, condolences to the family and President Buhari. But his contribution to Nigerian development during his 8 years will not be particularly palatable to historians and political scientists. And it did not come out well as someone that changed the dynamics of Nigerian society, Nigerian project. Nigerian project was not touched by the second time. Buhari came on board as someone that should have...
Some ministers were even there for 8 years.
Pardon?
Some ministers were there for 8 years.
Pardon?
Some ministers were there for 8 years. There was no cabinet reshuffle.
That's the problem he had. The inability to look at the realities on ground and take decisive positions on things as a leader. That is what should have done. The way he handled the SARS protest, the way he handled the COVID, a little bit, okay. You know, the economy was not well handled. The finance did not work.
Well, infrastructure projects, Second Niger Bridge, the trains, the
the
airports.
To some extent, infrastructure. You know, if the airports are they profitable? Are they viable? That's the question.
They're standard.
So
they're better than what they were before.
Established. You know, but the fact remains that a holistic view of Buhari administration, and by extension, its legacy, I think it's not good enough.
All right. I mean, there's a video of the late former president where he had gone for a function and then he made a statement seeking apology, especially for those whom he may have hurt, in his words. I don't know if you have that video. We'd like to put
Let's take that video, please,
for you to see as well. Okay, while we wait for that video
basically,
to come up.
he was just telling Nigerians that, look, in the course of my discharge of my duty, I might have wronged people, caused them injustice. Please forgive me. And okay, let's take the video.
Whoever thought that there has been some form of injustice on him, we are all humans. There is no doubt I hurt some people, and I wish they would pardon me. And those that think that I've hurt them so much, please pardon me. I thank you very much.
Some people so much, and then he was asking for him to be pardoned. Would you say that's a hallmark of someone who has looked at the overall picture and said, listen, I have done something that is wrong, I may have hurt a few persons, and has boldly come out to say in a humble way, please forgive me if I have done anything wrong, pardon me. And just before every other thing, and then his demise.
You see, many of his supporters have been playing this, particularly changes yesterday, on YouTube, on Twitter, AI and the rest, you know. It's something they should do. It's something they must do, you know, to try to cement its legacy. You know, if I was a Buhari media man, you know, that's what I'll be doing, to try and see how I can reconstruct its legacy and cement it in the consciousness of Nigeria. But the fact remains that what did he do during those 8 years? You know, what did he do to tackle insecurity, to take care of our economy? What did he do to tackle? He was known to be a anti-corruption crusader. You know, to something that and when people are saying that Buhari is not corrupt, people messed up under him. They're not put in jail. Many people messed up our treasury, our commonwealth under Buhari stewardship, and they were not put in jail. These people were free, and they were doing many things.
Yeah, but so, the former CBN governor is currently in jail.
Many of them, even the minister, even his nephew, Minister of Aviation. So these guys are, you see, they messed up this country, they messed up our treasury, and they were not punished. So
but those people have now joined alliance.
But they have some of them who have now formed the ADC, Alliance for...
And it's culpable. The president was culpable in all these things. This is the way history will judge him. I'm not a jobber, a political jobber. I'm an analyst. I'm looking at it holistically. You know, based on what he did before. If Buhari had not ruled Nigeria, I would have rated him well than the way I'm doing now. But his coming in the second time did not particularly help his legacy, his person. You know, that aura that he built over time. Because when APC was formed, the impression was that this man would be the arrowhead. APC based his formation and his intention to win the election on the Buhari person. Like Mohammed tells me that Habib, APC is sure of 12 million votes, block vote from the north. So, and I did a story there that it appeared that APC has already decided on Buhari. People say, before he became president.
So this 12 million block votes now, is this still going to be guaranteed now that there's a vacuum?
That's why I said it's difficult to fill his shoes. We will fill it. Buhari, they see him as my Geskia, somebody that is pure, clean, and honest.
The truthful.
The not. So that is what the APC built on, and was able to use it to fight Jonathan and won the election. You know, but it will be difficult to replace Buhari in the north. Now, who's going to replace it?
But there's a statement
that sure that I will be struggling. They will be struggling now. Some of the political boys, political sons like Ebufai, like
Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso is looking likely to be the strongest person on the north.
Of Katsina State.
Okay, all right. You're talking about the people on.
People they'll be fighting to take over the structure of Buhari. But it will be difficult for him to be replicated.
But I mentioned Kwankwaso based on the fact that he's also a big name in the north, and maybe he could.
He's a major name in the north. A post-independence in Nigeria, Buhari is the most popular name ever in the part of the country. And no one will carry replace him in Daura, in Katsina, but in the north and by extension, Nigeria. That is the body kind of politics. You know, no matter what we say about him, he came, he saw, but it's difficult for us to say he conquered.
All right. Let's take it that way, the way you put it, that he came, he saw, but difficult to say that the former president, the late former president, conquered. Let's look at another paper, the front page, just basically Nigerian Tribune. Let's see what's there. There you have it. Buhari, end of an era, dies in London clinic at 82. To Obasanjo, IBB, Jonathan, Atiku, Obi, others pay tribute. Shatima Galadima to accompany corpse back home. Flags to fly half-mast for 7 days. Emergency FEC holds Tuesday. Tight security at his Kaduna home. Well, possibly, would it see footage of the home? Surprisingly, also our reporter did speak to a few persons quite some minutes ago. But I want us to focus on one thing here. When we look at the header, there's also someone who has died at the top there. The Awujale of Ijebu land, or by the Turner, who both of them were close friends. They have videos, pictures, images. But so I'd like you to speak on that as well. And then, before you speak on the Awujale, the first line there, dies in London clinic at 82. Earlier on when we started the show, we said this is quite a reminiscence of what we saw in also a former late president, President Musa Yar'Adua, who equally didn't die in the country in which he governs, but died outside the shores of Nigeria. And it's a repetition we're seeing. Do you think this would send a message to the current political
I'm not particularly comfortable that our leaders will die in abroad. Nelson Mandela, the most famous iconic figure in Africa, died in South Africa. Why can't these people take care of our health sector? Why should Buhari be flown abroad when the health was getting worse? What stops them from investing in these things? At least make one of the hospitals okay, so that leaders can go visit that kind of place and take care of themselves. They will travel abroad. Even when he was president, he was going there every 3 months for medical attention. I don't think it's good for us. I think they should learn from it. You know, they should learn from it. Even before Buhari, the late Yar'Adua also died abroad when he went for medical treatment. It's not a good thing. The current crop of leaders should learn from it. Establish modern hospitals in the country. Because you can afford it to travel abroad. Other people that cannot afford it. I think the minimum demand Nigerians are making is for our leaders to invest in infrastructure, invest in education, and more importantly, invest in the medical sector. That is the only way you can stop this medical tourism. Because it's not a good thing for us. Even the current president travels abroad for medical attention.
But in fairness, they have a history. I mean, won't you think their medical history, and they've been going there for checkup? So it's just natural that
how can they establish it here? How can they fly in those expatriates to come and take care of him here? It's not a good thing for us. We at this age and time, it's not a good thing for us at all.
Let's talk about
there should be so searching among our leaders. Is it good for them to travel abroad and die there? You not send the VP to go and follow the body.
We've seen another monarch. This is the second monarch that will be passing in the course of in less than 2 weeks.
Second question.
The Olubado.
The Awujale.
Yes, the Awujale.
The Awujale has been a respected traditional ruler for decades. Respected.
Since 1960.
It's not every day you see him in Aso Rock with the president or in any event, any location.
Yeah, but that's true. It's always
Awujale and Yoruba Benin.
Very respected.
That same category. The man is I won't say he's an activist, but he believes in justice. Awujale fought for June 12. Awujale fight for anything that is beneficial to Nigerians, and particularly to the Yoruba land. So Awujale harbors many of those guys that were under harassment, intimidation by the government. He harbored them in his palace, including the current president. You know, it's not hidden that Awujale played that role. And when the late Sani Abacha want to execute Dia, Abdallah intervene. That will happen. That should be a way to resolve the matter. And luckily for us, Dia was not killed. So the man is a respected leader. He ruled for more than 6 decades. He became the king at 26 when they flew from London. Tall, handsome. So it's unfortunate. Or that is the hands of fate. That he died the same day that Buhari died.
Yes, and they were good friends.
I've given more coverage than this. I believe it deserves more coverage than it's currently getting. But with time, I think it deserves.
Lubado also passed recently, and it's been succeeded by former Governor Ladoja.
It's not that is a normal sequence. But let them follow it. We are waiting.
Why was the successor chosen so fast, and why is it different in?
They won't announce it.
Oh, okay.
But
it's
the Ibadan kingship arrangement is very, very peculiar. They know the next king
already.
Yeah, yes. Before. From the Balogun or from the other part of. So it's something that is very clear. They know the next king.
Fantastic.
It's for the government to just announce that this is the next king, and it will happen.
Now, from Ibadan, let's head straight to Morocco in northern Africa.
We'll come back to
where our girls, the Super Falcons, are making us proud. We have sports correspondent Omoyele Sowore on standby to bring us up to date with latest happenings in Morocco. Hello, Omoyele, looking very bright and cheerful this morning. Can you keep us up to speed with the Super Falcons? How are they faring so far? And hopefully you'll be returning home with them with the trophy at the end of the tournament.
Sorry, before you answer that, can you also tell us if the news of the late president Muhammadu Buhari is filtering within the news space there in Morocco?
Thank you so much. Let me begin with Johansson's question. Yes, it did filter. Everyone, they're all different about how to feel about that sad situation and the sad news coming all the way from Nigeria. But before the Super Falcons kicked off their encounter against Algeria, they were able to give 1 minute silence for the former president, the demise of the former president. So I think that's the only reaction we've gotten so far from that sad news coming from Nigeria. May the Lord grant their family the fortitude to bear the loss. Moving over to Benga's question. Yes, we are still crossing our fingers, hoping that things can go our way and Mission X can really be ignited in the quarterfinal of this competition. At this time, the Super Falcons are not that happy about their performance because they deployed every single tactics in the books to break down the defense of the Algerians yesterday, but they could not. Even the coach of the side, Justin Madugu, made a little bit of changes, 8 new starters into the starting lineup of who had done the previous 2 games against Tunisia and Botswana. Even with that change, we could not see anything, tangible in breaking the defense of the Algerians. The Algerians came really prepared. They are also one of the teams that have not conceded any goal in this competition because they won 1-0 against Botswana and drew goalless against Tunisia. So they are on the same path the Super Falcons of Nigeria, who have not conceded any goal. Now, it felt like the Chiamaka Nnadozie was having a field time in the field yesterday because the Algerians never penetrated into our defense, but we tried our best to attack, deployed every single tactics, Benga, just talk of any in the books of breaking down defense, but the Algerians packed the bus. The trophy, yes, inside. But at this time when the Super Falcons are not scoring too many goals, I think that's something to be worried about.
Well, there's something to be worried about.
Playing next. And, you have to win the quarterfinals, the semis, before you start talking about the finals. It reminds me of Nigeria versus Brazil. Nigeria, we had not played Denmark and we were excited in France 98. So we'll cross one hurdle before we move to the other. Who are our next opponents in the quarterfinals?
At this time, Group A winners will face, of course, Group C second place. But we are Group B table toppers because we finished with that 7 points. After 2 games, we had 6 points. Then, of course, the draw yesterday, the goalless draw yesterday gave us 1 point. So we finished with 7 points, while Algeria finished with 5 points because they won 1, drew goalless, and also another goalless. So that makes 5 points for Algeria. So we are topping the table at this time. We get to keep Casablanca as our home ground for the games in the quarterfinals. So the Super Falcons are not moving away from Casablanca as table toppers. We also get to face Group A second place. Now, this is where there's a cherry on the cake. Group A second place are Zambia. Now, of course, these are the same Zambians we faced in the 3rd place match in 2022 that pipped us and made us finish 4th in that competition. Why they picked the bronze medal. But Coach Justin Madugo is saying, even though he was not the one in charge of the team at the time when we played in the 2022 Women's African Cup of Nations, he says, no, afflictions will not arise the second time, that he's making sure that he's tying up all loose ends to make sure that Zambians don't have a field day, but we worry so much about the Zambians. The Zambians have a crop of players that they bring so much they have so much prowess, they bring so much power to the field. We are still trying to, through the likes of Banda, who is the reigning Women's African Cup of Nations. That's the reigning Women African of the year. So, we're trying to break through Barbara Banda, who just had 23 minutes to just announce herself in the competition by scoring a goal in that first game in the Women's African Cup of Nations. Not to talk of Rachel Kudananji. Yes, she plays in the same club, Bay FC, in the United States with Asisat Oshuala. But at this time, they are not club mates, they are not teammates, they are opponents. Playing for Nigeria is Asisat Oshuala and playing for Zambia is Rachel Kudananji. They also have Margaret Belemu to deal with, not to talk of Catherine Kotongo. The Zambians are coming with ex-opponents, and I'm hoping that the Super Falcons understand that the opponent they have for the quarterfinal, they know how to score. They do know how to score. So the best we can is make sure that we don't concede against them, and that will be a tough ask, Benga.
Thank you so much, Onyechi Ogu, for Obaro, for your analysis. And like we say, Zambia has nothing on us. We have Agbabola Asisat Oshuala. So we look forward to hear more from you in the beautiful city of Casablanca. Thank you
so much for joining us. Well, it's just 5 hours to Casablanca from Nigeria. I couldn't help but
admire the beauty of the street.
The beauty on the street, the
infrastructure,
the infrastructure.
The lack of pure water on the ground, and other dirty.
Let's look at our final paper so that we can take our final analysis, a final shot on that. We've taken a look at the Nigerian Tribune. Can we take a look at another one very quickly? Let's see if we'll have... Okay, let's look at some of the...
Okay, some positive news here from the Tribune. Nigeria records 5.96 billion monthly FX inflows from May amidst reforms and investor confidence. Some positive news, and we've seen the Naira stabilize around 1,500 plus, between 1,500 to 600. What do you make of this? How do we keep this up, and what benefits would accrue to us as a country and our economy if we keep up with these reforms?
I think the best thing for the country is to earn more foreign exchange. You need to go and check how much the government is spending to stabilize Naira. Benga. Go and look at it. You're spending a lot of money to stabilize the Naira. And the only way you can make the Naira strong against other currencies like Euro, dollar, and pound is to have a base, industrial base.
And export.
So that when you export, there's no way economy will be import-oriented. And you have, as your currency will be strong. It's not possible. So the government should try and diversify. We should not rely on oil for our main foreign exchange enemy. The solid mineral ministry, they should empower them so that they can make more money for us. If you make more money, that is the only way you can stabilize the Naira. And that's the only way all of us can. Because You can imagine I was asking someone in UK. The guy, the son told him to save £7,000 for him to add to do this masters. How much is £7,000? 14 million naira.
Just 7,000.
Yes.
7 to 14 million.
So you can imagine. So this thing is high up there. So the only way the government can do it is to be more pragmatic, put more efforts in developing an industrial base so that we can be exporting. Our agri products should be exported. This thing, it's simplistic to bring in foreign exchange and then that will be stabilized. Now I can even go up as currently facing now. So that's the only way out, Benga.
I mean, you've said it
but
all.
But the news is encouraging anyway.
And some experts have also said the same thing, that it's high time we look at being a producing nation.
We have to.
Rather than just consuming.
You can't be monolithic and want to be strong. Your country to be. It's not possible.
It's not possible.
Look at China, look at Japan, look at Germany.
Even Saudi Arabia is looking beyond oil.
So you must be able to
hosting boxing tournaments and
creative industry work. Even if you have creative industry that is bringing our tourism sector. Look at the thing that you develop.
Yeah. I mean, most of the boxing and even sporting games are happening in Saudi Arabia.
In Morocco.
Yeah.
Don't have tourism and other things that look at Morocco. We just saw it now. Look at the train in the middle of the road.
They'll tell you that it's just a population of almost 40 million compared to population.
And people should stop stealing our money.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should block all the polls.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I want to say thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Bibari, for being here. And thank you to all our viewers for joining us. It's been a fantastic show, 3 hours non-stop of bringing you the latest stories from sports and the latest stories from Nigeria. Talk about politics. And don't forget the movement as well, July 17th. We'll talk about all of these and much more when we return tomorrow morning. Thank you so much for watching. Stay with us because Jasiri is up next. My name is Joe Hansen.
And I'm Benga Bro, and Olive, get well soon.
Yeah,
I miss
right.
you.
That's
Bye-bye.
right. Take care, Olive.
We love you.